That's exactly true. I chose to watch every episode, and we started our show the first time WandaVision episodes were released on Disney Plus, and here we are at the end, and the finale answered some questions, still left some out in the air. Evan, what questions do you have, or do you just have statements to make?
I have quite a few questions I remember asking myself, such as, spoiler alert, such as,
Spoiler warning.
why was this CGI fight taking 30 minutes to resolve itself?
Hmm.
Couldn't they have given either of those villains a satisfying comeuppance?
Mm-hmm.
Could
Sure.
they have had any dialogue that was more straightforward and made a bit more sense?
Mm-hmm. So for the go ahead, continue.
But oh, I kid. I
Yes.
thought I was not entirely disappointed by this episode. I think as a conclusion, it probably concluded in the way it had to. I will say we kind of you look at this episode and you look at the first episode and you see we really strayed far from the path. I think now, I guess, since it's the end, we can more, I guess, talk about WandaVision as a whole.
Sure, sure. Yeah. I mean, I bet it's a different experience going back and watching those early episodes now, knowing, what we know about Catherine Hahn since we saw that big battle between those two characters, Aga Harkness and Wanda Maximoff. Um, yeah, it was certainly an interesting way, though, to start off phase four of Marvel's cinematic universe.
I think, yeah, the start of of Phase Four, I guess.
Hmm.
The first part of it, or was no, I guess because this is the first piece of Marvel Entertainment since, yeah,
Since Spider-Man: Far From Home, yeah.
yeah. Well, I guess then, my biggest thing is that if you recall from the earliest episode, is that my original feelings about the first two episodes of WandaVision were that I enjoyed the mystery, I enjoyed the setup, but I wish they had gone a bit deeper and they had taken a little further. And I guess as a whole, it is kind of disappointing to me that instead of sticking to the mystery and maybe going a bit more subversive, a bit deeper, a bit more of an accurate or a bit more of just a meaty parody or like a satire of this idealized view of suburban life, which might have been passe but would have been interesting. And instead, they just kind of abandoned it. And again, this ending, as I said, that fight scene, this ending is characterized by a very extended fight scene between four belligerents, Vision and White Vision, and then Harkness and Wanda. And so there's a war being fought on two fronts.
Hmm.
And while some of the visuals are pretty nice, I thought it's Vision fight. It's a really colorful Vision fighting a White Vision. I kind of thought they might do more cool. There's a lot of chances I feel like for some neat effects and cool looking stuff, but the fight just seemed so prolonged, and especially because at the end, it ended the way it had to, and it ended the way that it was kind of telegraphed to, and it didn't really leave us with too many surprises, and so it kind of just felt like, I don't know, it felt like this show had a lot of promise to it, and it had a lot of stuff that I liked, but this ending does kind of feel like it went up to a big wet nothing. So that's
Yeah,
my final takeaway. What about you?
yeah. I don't know. Just like a couple quick things to hit on, I guess. So we started with like the post credit scenes of like Sword having Vision, and then we are obviously those two were going to fight each other. So that almost happens right away. We pick up right where we left off at the end of the last episode, where Agatha has the two kids, and we kind of see like how when Wanda is like using her powers, like Agatha kind of like like how we saw in that one commercial where you're the Yo Magic commercial, like feeding on your magic. That's kind of what she was doing. And so I thought that was directly tied in with that. But then we saw all these characters fight for a little bit. It was kind of prolonged, and I didn't really like the scene where Vision was talking to Vision. I didn't love it. Obviously, Paul Bettany teased like there's this actor he has these intense scenes with, and it was just himself, and that was pretty funny. He revealed that on like Thursday, but had these theories like it was Professor X, it was someone he's always wanted to work with, it was himself. But
Yeah,
we
that
see
ship
Vision.
com well, they have like a talk about the ship of Theseus, and
Yeah,
this feels kind of tedious to me.
yeah.
It's like I get it, I get the point,
Hmm.
but I'm sure for me it felt like a kind of tired conversation where it's like I feel like I didn't get why they needed to explain it, especially in that weird like didactic way that they did. But that's the whole thing about this episode. It just kind of felt tedious, like it was prolonging the inevitable.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel like episode 8 kind of told us everything that was almost going to happen. We saw Wanda as, in her full form, I guess. So obviously, we're going to get her in that costume with the crown and whatever. And then we saw how Billy and Tommy, her kids, were going to, not be able to exist outside of this as Vision couldn't, the red Vision, not the white one. And we saw the white Vision get the memories of, or his memories were kind of activated by the other Vision. So that Vision flew away. So we're going to get him showing up later, I'm almost sure, as the other one doesn't exist anymore. But I think he's, not going to be the one we've known in the past couple movies we've seen him in. But he'll certainly, still be involved.
It kind of it goes back to my initial statement about how this show really goes to great lengths to deeply explain every mystery that's brought up by itself.
Hmm.
And so this episode, I think, suffers from that. That's my biggest, is that it, instead of building on questions, instead of building on mystery, asking questions is good, but I don't need the movie to go to that much extent answering them. That's kind of for us to do.
Yeah. Um, and I do quickly want to touch on we saw Jimmy Woo make a call to someone named Cliff, and we thought this may have been the big cameo. I personally thought he was calling in Cliff Booth, and we were going to see Brad Pitt as the Luke Skywalker level cameo. He certainly would have been a worthy opponent to anyone in the Marvel universe. Um,
Was the Luke Skywalker level cameo? I
I don't know
legitimately
if there was one. I mean, I really thought Doctor Strange was going to show up, but we see the scene with Monica Rambeau teasing Captain Marvel 2 with the scrolls. Again, that's not really someone of uh, particular Luke Skywalker level, I would say, or
they've
any
been in
level.
the show the whole time. The moment they
Mhm.
show Monica Rambeau, it's like if for people who know that that's another Captain Marvel, they're like, "Oh, that's Captain Marvel. All right."
Yeah. Hmm.
So
And I did really like the scene with Monica and Billy and Tommy when they're all using their powers. Like, I like your powers or whatever. I thought that was funny. And we do see Monica, really does have these powers, whatever they might be. So she'll be a big player, probably a future Avenger. Um, and I just want to say that I did not watch all the X-Men movies this week to have Evan Peters be teased with his super speed and have a scene where Monica or Wanda's kid with the super speed. I forget if it's Billy or Tommy, but I know the character's name is Speed. Does a scene where he takes one of the security or FBI, one of Hayward's agents' hats, a la Evan Peters in X Men Days of Future Past. And Evan Peters has a man cave like he does in X Men Days of Future Past and Apocalypse. And he's not Quicksilver, he is Ralph.
I thought that was kind of funny. It
Yeah.
was. It's like part of me kind of like respects them a little bit for like spending the whole like 8 episodes really saying like, okay, there's going to be a big tease, there's going to be, and then they
Mhm.
just don't do one.
Yeah.
Which
I think it's
I kind of would respect them if that was like an intentional thing.
yeah, very funny in the sense of the intense Marvel fans who read into everything, get let down by that. I do appreciate that level of commitment to the bit.
I would really love like for Marvel to do like a full because of how many people they've reached a point where they can do whatever they want and they'll still be like make the highest grossing movie ever. I would love if they pulled like an Andy Kaufman style prank. They kind of did that with the first Spider-Man when they had the disappointment thing at the end. That I loved. I would really love if they did a full like fake out, like you think there's gonna be this big Avengers letdown, this big Avengers meetup movie,
Hmm.
and it's just like them all going to get like Chinese takeout.
Yeah, yeah. The what do they call it at the end of shawarma?
Yeah, shawarma.
Shawarma.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, they did that in the first Avengers.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, I do still have a lot of questions about the show. I think the biggest thing I'm going to take away from this is that at the end, when Agatha is turned, before she's turned back into the nosy neighbor role by Wanda, and Wanda has her costume, her crown, and she's basically saying goodbye to everyone after traumatizing these hundreds of people and leaving them scarred for life. Um,
Very
the
wonderful in 1984 to have our hero
yeah,
like really ruin someone's life at the end
yeah,
and nothing ever happens.
yeah, just go back to normal. Herb and Dottie and Norm. Um,
After what they're going to be in therapy for years.
oh
Like,
yeah, and Wanda just left. She flew away, and she's in her cabin in the woods now, learning magic. Um,
pretty
I
neat. I like that it didn't fully. It left her with a level of guilt, which was pretty
right.
interesting. That I liked. I liked that.
She did have to sacrifice, her ideal life with Vision and the kids for these people to get their lives back, whatever their lives will be. I mean, I don't know. I doubt we'll see any of these characters really again from Westview, but maybe Wanda deals with some PTSD repercussions. Marvel has showed that in the past with Tony Stark. So yeah, I don't know.
I feel like that nosy neighbor thing, like having her. I was really hoping. We were mentioning this before the podcast, but I was really hoping for a really big comeuppance for the two villains.
Yeah,
And military guy, he just goes to jail.
Hayward. Yeah.
Hayward, he just goes, but you know what? He's like a high level military commander, so he's going to country club jail anyway. But like, I really thought they were going to like kill Agnes off, but no. Like, it's kind of funny that she has her stuck like in this internal like torture for like
She just
ever.
turned her into Catherine Hahn.
But like, isn't it like they're all screaming internally when they
Oh,
are here?
absolutely. Yeah. We see that too
So
when Vision wakes them up, that they're like, get me out of this.
yeah, they're like that. I liked when they're like, just kill me, put me out of my misery. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
One of them says, like, if you're not going to let us live here or whatever, just kill us or something like that.
It's like a fate worse than that was what I was like really like shocked by. I was like, oh, she didn't just kill her; she gave her like a fate worse than death.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Like that's some
um,
like
go ahead.
Harlan Ellison type punishment right there.
Yeah. So I think the main takeaway from this is that when Wanda is speaking with Agatha slash Agnes, whatever she is now, she tells her basically like, you're gonna need my power after she does the whole thing with the runes, which was pretty cool, might I add, because she kind of pulled a Nuno reverse card on her. But I I think when she is telling Wanda that now that she's unlocked this Scarlet Witch level of whatever, that she tells her that she's going to need her Agatha, and I think Wanda definitely opened up the multiverse when she became the Scarlet Witch, and that's how she's going to play into Doctor Strange 2 and Spider-Man 3. Um, that is what seems to be happening here, in my opinion.
No, I agree. I remember I saw a lot of people talking about the multiverse in relation to this, and it
Hmm.
seemed like the likely outcome. I was kind of wondering like what the tie was, but that probably seems like it is. She just
Yeah.
opened up the multiverse. Now we're gonna see. So this will pave the way for some real Sam Raimi weirdness. Hopefully,
Hmm.
this December.
Yes.
We're gonna
This
see some
December is
evil.
Spider-Man 3, not Doctor Strange 2.
Oh, when's Doctor
So
Strange?
a little bit more of a wait for that,
We're gonna
unfortunately.
see some very evil trees in the MCU coming up.
Yes. Um,
Groot. Oh no, Groot! Stop that.
Groot. He's in trouble. So yeah, I did like this finale, but I think I more liked it before what it's setting up. And I think that's kind of the job of all these Marvel Disney Plus shows is you're not going to get any huge things like you will in the movies, but it's just more room to, set up those things in the movies and build anticipation. So I've seen on Twitter people saying like now that they fooled us with Evan Peters, are they fooling us with Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire? Are they really not going to be in Spider-Man 3 since everyone's denying it? And I think we'll have to wait and see some footage for Spider-Man 3 before I make a bet on that, I think.
It would be, once again, I think if they did do something like that, like they said, oh, all these people are going to be in it, and
Hmm.
like, again, like it's a cameo, like as a bus drop driver or something like that,
Yeah,
that I would love. I would really, I
like a
like it
Stan Lee
when,
cameo.
yeah, maybe it's yeah, like a Stan Lee type cameo. What if
Hmm.
that was, that's the thing, post Stan Lee, these cameos have gotten few and far between. They're not
Right, yeah. What if
as
that's the
good as
new
they once
thing?
were.
What if that's the new thing they start doing? They're like, "Hey, Hugh Jackman."
Hugh Jackman, could you have a cameo in this?
Yeah.
He could be,
Um,
he's holding a bunch of scissors. Oh, it's like Wolverine.
Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, he plays Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, good finale. Very much looking forward to Falcon and Winter Soldier in 2 weeks. I think that's going to be very, very different. But I have seen the episodes are probably going to be longer, more closer to an hour, where we saw half-hour ones because there's only 6 episodes of Falcon and Winter Soldier. So we get that, then we get Loki after that, and by the point we're done with Loki, we're going to start hopefully getting some more Marvel movies back in theaters. So it should be exciting to see. I thought this was a very successful series, obviously, and there are just a lot of characters I want to see more from that were brought in here. Anything before we move on from WandaVision for the final time?
Uh, Once again, snoopers are gonna snoop. That's our
Exactly.
catchphrase for WandaVision, I think.
Okay, there we go.
They did
Um,
bring out the best possible cameo, which would, of course, have been friend of the show, Armand Hammer,
yes, as the Green
as
Lantern.
Mjolnir.
As Mule. Okay, yeah. Different directions there, but ultimately, same level of cameo, I think.